Om Sahna Vavatu Sahnau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shrutismritipurananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Tapobhikshina papanam shantanam vitaraginam mumukshunam apekshoyam atmabodho vidhiyate. Okay. So we had done verse 38. Having negated the gross body, subtle body, causal body as not I, we saw the instructions for meditation. That was in 38, where it was said, sit in a solitary place, control the senses, let go of the desires, and with single pointed attention, meditate on the self. Bhavaye dekam atmanam tam anantam ananyadhihi. Now that continues further. 39th one says, Atmanye vakhilam drishyam pravilapya dhiya sudhihi bhavaye dekam atmanam nirmalakasha vatsada. So Atmani eva, in the self alone, akhilam drishyam, whatever we see must be pravilapya, must be dissolved. How? Dhiya, with our buddhi. Meaning when we have withdrawn the attention from the world outside, we don't experience the world at all. Generally we think I am born inside the world exists independent of me, but that is not true. I become aware of the world only when this small I starts. And when I withdraw from this small I, the whole world also disappears. So he says here, pravilapya dhiya. This, with the buddhi, with intelligence, one should withdraw the attention completely from the world. And who will be able to do? Any intellectual will be able to do? No. Sudhi will be able to do. Just because I am an intellectual, I can give I can do a lot of diagnosis, analysis, dissection, and I can, argue, debate, all that doesn't make me a Sudhi. Sudhi means one whose buddhi is purified, one whose intentions are noble, one who wants to realize the self, so has developed vairagya and viveka. That person is that person is called Sudhi. So pravilapya dhiya sudhihi. Nowhere in our scriptures it is said one should meditate just by leaving away all the thoughts. The thoughts must dissolve away in the awareness that I am pure consciousness. Pravilapya dhiya sudhi bhavaye dekam atmanam, and contemplate with single pointed mind only on the self, that I am pure consciousness beyond thought, beyond emotions, beyond any physical sensations. So beyond sensation, beyond emotion, beyond any thought modification, my nature is pure consciousness. That way, one has to meditate. Nirmal akashavat sada. And what is that consciousness? Consciousness is that which enlivens everything, but it gets affected by nothing. Like the example given here is the sky. So in space, everything exists in space. But space cannot be contaminated by anything that is in the space. No amount of smoke, can contaminate the space. No amount of violence or bloodshed can contaminate the space. Air can get contaminated, water can get contaminated, land can get contaminated, but fire and space, they are two elements which will never get contaminated. So what should one meditate? That I am like that space. If one visualizes that, even at this moment, one can do that. Close your eyes and visualize that I am space. So if we say I am space, number one, as space, I have no boundaries. The body has forms, the space has no form. So I am formless, I am all pervasive. One. Two, everything exists in me just like everything exists in space. I am the pure consciousness in which everything is there, but nothing is there that can affect me. So the more I meditate on this, that I am like pure space, I am that pure awareness, the consciousness which remains untouched, unaffected, and in me everything dissolves, from me everything rises, but I remain as it is. The more I meditate on that, the more the body identification also goes, and the more one feels and expands, one feels fearless, one feels very equanimous. At this time when there is so much of uncertainty, there is so much of fear that is going around, what will happen? And see, this is in spite of India being in a very good position, that not so many deaths have happened. A lot of people who had predicted that by now, by May, millions of people will die in India. We are in such a good position. We are not even affected that much. Yes, there are people who have passed away, there is no doubt, but our count is somewhere 40,000-45,000 who are the affected cases. The deaths are so much lesser. Economy also, yes, there are some challenges, but compared to the world, we are in such a much better condition. So in spite of that, there is fear, apprehension, which is natural. But now when I meditate in this way, that I am like space, the mind, the body, they may have certain sensations, certain feelings, certain emotions, certain anxieties, but I am the illuminer of all of them. So just like space remains unaffected, I should learn to remain unaffected. One practice I can do through the week, every day in the morning, just for 5 minutes, meditate that I am like space. I am going through the whole day unaffected. Many things will happen through the day, but I am unaffected. If I do this every morning, minimum 5 minutes, I just sit quietly, focus on the breath for 2-3 minutes, and then meditate on space for 5 minutes. Mind will also become stronger, and I will come to realize my identity as consciousness also. So the whole day I can go through with poise, with equanimity, with balance, and the mind is not going to be anxious and disturbed. So Akash is a very nice analogy. Nirmal Akashavat Sada. Nirmal means pure. So no impurities will touch the Akash. Same way, fear, anxiety, depression, sadness, laziness, lethargy, nothing can touch me. I am pure consciousness. These come and go. I am only their embodiment. Now, if I don't encourage these impurities, they will die on their own. Because I hold on to them, I am encouraging them more and more because I feel I am lazy. So what should I tell myself? I am like space. One beautiful quality of space is it holds to nothing. It holds on to nothing. Everything is in the space, but space holds on to nothing. It is very amazing if we understand this well, that detachment is the natural quality of our senses, our mind, our intellect, and our Atma. It is just that we don't know it. Think about it. Do the eyes hold on to any form? The eyes see everything, but does the eye hold on to any form? It does not hold on to any form. And that's why it can see every form. If it holds on to any one form, it gets stuck. Then it can't see other things. The tongue, does it keep all the food on itself? No. After we chew the food, the tongue swallows it. It doesn't keep any food with itself. If it keeps any food there, it cannot enjoy more. It is just stuck with that food, and that food will putrefy. It will get spoiled. So our senses are also detached. They remain unaffected. Our mind also is detached actually. Every night we go to deep sleep, we come out. We leave everything in the world when we are in the deep sleep. Senses are detached, mind is detached. Our intellect also is detached. Thoughts come and they go. Desires come and they go. The thing is, we cling to them, then that is called our attachment. Otherwise, detachment is our nature. So positive, negative, they just come and they go. That is called Nirmal Akasha Vat Sada. Akash doesn't get attached to anything. Everything else is in the Akash. The very meaning of the word Akash means Avakashatvat Akasha, that which accommodates everything. Universes are there in this space. Multiple galaxies are there, and so many, ours is only a Milky Way small, then Andromeda, and be above that, and such huge universe it is. The entire universe is in space. But space is unaffected by anything. How many planets and stars and comets and collisions and whatnot is happening in space? Space remains unaffected by anything. So if I say I am like that space, everything is there in me, but I am affected by nothing, like the ocean also. Waves and waves can rise, fall in the ocean, but nothing happens to the ocean. So bhavayed ekam atmanam. My nature as Atma is that pure consciousness which remains untouched, unaffected by anything. So the more one comes to understand and identify with the self, the more equanimous the mind becomes. More stronger that mind also becomes, more unaffected one will be. So that is about this verse 39. And every morning one can spend just 5 minutes meditating on oneself as the space. Then these three qualities will come out. Quality one is like space, like space is formless, I am also formless. Quality two, the space, everything arises in the space, stays in the space, dissolves in the space, but space remains unaffected. Number three, things come, things go, each one apparently goes through their own nature, their own modifications. The space is only the substratum. Same way, I am the substratum. In me, there can be sensations at the body, sensations of the mind, emotions of the mind, desire and thought modification of the intellect. They come and they go. They are temporary. Space always remains permanent. So I am that permanent. So formlessness, being unaffected, being permanent, these are attributes which we can understand that is the nature of my Atma. As an Atma, I am formless. As Atma, I am unaffected by anything that happens. As Atma, I am permanent. Body, mind, intellect, they are perishable. I am not these. So Nirmal Akashavat Sada, all times. Not now and then. Even when I don't identify with the Atma, I am the Atma only. Just that I am identifying with the body, so I apparently have forgotten. But at all times, I am the Atma. Nirmal Akashavat Sada, at all times. Whether my meditation is going on beautifully or not going on beautifully, I am still the Atma. Now then, why should we meditate? Why should we put so much of effort to realize that Atma? Because without realizing that Atma, I am suffering as a small little jiva. So then Better it is to put efforts to tune up to the self, because that is my true nature. So now that was about Akash. So two examples, two verses are given for that meditation aspect. Some more come further. Let us see the 40th one. Rupavarnadikam sarvam vihaya paramarthavit Paripurnachidananda Swarupenavatisthate. Rupa Varnadikam Sarvam Vihaya. Rupa means form, Varna means see, literally the word Varna means color. So color is Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So black color is Tamas, red color is Rajas, white color is Sattva. So literally the word Varna means color, and based on these three colors, black, red and white, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, the combination of Sattva, Rajas and Tamas is what makes each individual what he or she is, and based on that temperament, the profession has to be chosen. Like what we call today aptitude. Based on the aptitude, we choose our core competency, the subject we want to take, the career we want to take. In those earlier days, the aptitude was understood by understanding their composition of the three gunas. And based on that, the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, they were classified based on their guna, not based on their birth. That system of birth came much later, that human being has exploited it, and that casteism is not acceptable at all. But as a concept, caste is a very important aspect, because nobody should choose their profession unless they know what is their swadharma properly, and according to that choose the profession, then they will be happy. So Rupa is the form, Varna is my mental temperament, Rupa Varnadikam Sarvam. All this, Rupa is related to body, Varna is related to the mind. Rupa Varnadikam Sarvam Vihaya. Just drop all this. When in the seat of contemplation, in the daily life, I have to do some duties, so that I will do. But in the seat of meditation, contemplation, what should I do? Withdraw. Vihaya Paramarthavit. One who has known the self. Till I don't know to withdraw, it is not possible to know the truth. See, this one quality is very important in spiritual life. We are taught more and more to acquire and to hold. To withdraw and to let go, nobody taught us. Now this withdrawing and letting go is the only way to peace actually. Now even at simple level, if we have to speak about, if suppose somebody told me something, now I am hurt. I should know how to withdraw from that and let go. Learn lesson out of it if it is real. If it is not real, it is just a fake comment somebody made just to, insult me, I let it go. The ability to withdraw and let go must be there in us. Because if this withdraw and let go we don't learn, we bind ourselves more and more and more. And so in the spiritual life, Tyaga is very important. That's why in Ishavasya Upanishad he says, Tena tyaktena bhunjitha. You renounce and rejoice. That is a spiritual culture, which will say, learn to withdraw, let go, you will experience the supreme. Like even I said about senses, the sensory enjoyment also I should know to let go. Then I can enjoy maximum. First rasgulla I eat, I love it. Second I eat little lesser. At that I should stop and let go, saying, bas, 2 rasgullas I've eaten, enough. Now if I'm going to eat 8, 10, very soon I will reach a saturation point, and after some days I will not even feel like eating rasgulla, because I have just eaten it so much that I have got fed up of it now. So I should know when to let go and how to let go. This vihaya is a very important word. Nobody teaches us how to let go. Everybody teaches collect, collect, collect. Whether it is everywhere, it is collect only. Whether it is money, whether it is people, whether it is likes, whether it is followers, go on collecting. In the world, it has a certain relevance. There is no doubt. Let that happen where it is required. But where I have to grow, my growth will happen only when I learn to let go, especially in the spiritual realm and in the emotional realm. Even if I love somebody, I should know how to let go. Because love with possessiveness becomes attachment, and that is what pulls the person down, the whole relationship down. If I truly love my child and the child wants to make a choice for his career or his spouse or whatever it is, his or her, whatever it is, I should learn to let go, saying let it is child's life, let the child do what the child wants. I can help guide and make the child aware of certain things that I am aware of. Then let the child do. No, but if the child makes mistakes, let them, they make their own mistakes, they will also learn their way. So I should know how to let go. In love, I should know how to let go. In enjoyment, I should know how to let go. In spiritual life, I should know how to let go. For relationships and hurts, I should know how to let go. Even the positive things, I should know how to let go. Otherwise, success gets into the head and I don't remain grounded anymore. So vihaya. Now this, whoever learns the capability to let go, that person progresses very fast in spiritual life. Because this capability to let go is what will make us finally let go of the body identification and realize the self. And there should be a joy in letting go, not pain. If I'm letting go with pain, that means that I have a lot of attachment for it and I have not really let go. See, we grow out of childhood toys now because we find higher joys. Very effortlessly, we just leave. But if I have not found the higher joys, and as a child I am playing with the toys and somebody takes away the toys or the toy gets destroyed, then it's a lot of pain to me. Why? Because I am still attached to it. So when I have developed enough vivek, vairagya, shatka sampatti, mumukshutvam, these qualities which we learned in Tattva Bodh, then to drop the pleasures of the world or to drop the attachments in the world or to drop some insistence in my relationships will not be painful because I know there is a higher joy. Why am I stuck in any of these? Vihaya, let go. If I'm able to let go at those levels, then I can let go the deepest layer, which is I am this body. Because letting go requires a lot of clarity and understanding. If I am already carrying burdens and burdens of desires, vasanas, all that, I won't even reach the deeper level of body identification. How will I let go? I may try to do anything in my meditation and say I am like space, I am unaffected and all that, but it is a whole huge layer of so many attachments and so many memories and insistence, indulgence, all that I am holding on to. Then it is not possible to let go the body identification. And that's why he says here, Rupa, Varna, Adikam, Sarvam Vihaya. Drop, become light. One has to become very light. If the mind becomes light, the inner light within us will shine. If the mind is very heavy, the inner light doesn't shine on. In the Sanctum Sanctorum, if you see, in a traditional South Indian temple, if you go into the Sanctum Sanctorum, it is always dark. If you want to have darshan of Bhagwan, the only way to have darshan of the Lord is to light some lamp or do the arati. That arati is symbolic of the ego. The camphor is symbolic of the ego. When the ego is burned, that ego, when it is burning, in the light of that, we see the Lord, and that vision of the Lord is what is brought out to us, and we take like this. Meaning, may I have the vision of the Lord, that I am one with the Lord, I am not this body, mind. And that ego finally dissolves, the whole camphor burns up. So that is what has to happen in meditation. That one by one, different layers, when I have given up, then the last layer, that also will go, that I am different from the Lord, that ignorance will get destroyed. Because our heart has ignorance. The ignorance is symbol of darkness. And hence many traditional temples are dark from inside, because that's a symbolism, that our heart is like that. And so vihaya paramarthavit. When I drop it, immediately I realize I am that pure consciousness, paramarthavit. And what is the nature of that consciousness? Paripurna Chidananda. It is of the nature of Paripurna, supreme fulfillment, of the nature of Chit, consciousness, Ananda, bliss. Swarupena avatishthate. And that person establishes oneself in the self. So this Paripurnata that we seek, fulfillment that we seek, Ananda that we seek, knowledge that we seek, is all there as ourself. Not knowing that we are seekers of fulfillment, we are seekers of permanent happiness, we are seekers of absolute bliss. One is running in the world outside begging for temporary petty paltry pleasures, and for that going through what all stress, worries, tensions, anxieties. When the heart is already full, I just have to turn within. So this turning within is what is this contemplation all about. That I should learn to let go of my attachments to the people, to the situations, to the objects. Then slowly one turns within and then let go attachment to the body, mind, intellect and the ego. Then what will one realize? Not a shunya. One will realize fulfillment. Gaining which nothing more remains to be gained. This is the only way to experience fulfillment. We are seeking fulfillment, but in the world outside. So no matter how much I get, I still remain incomplete, I still remain finite, I still feel that something more has to be attained. That permanent satisfaction, absolute bliss, the feeling that nothing more I need, I am most contented because I am Brahman. You see, many times it happens that I have achieved few things in life and I am contented at the mind level. But my identification that I am a jiva, that doesn't go. So I have lived a healthy life, I have lived a happy life, I have achieved certain things, I have brought up my family, children, settled them well, they are all doing well. So at one level, one feels contented. See, I have done what had to be done, God's grace is there with me, this is very good. Now whenever Bhagwan wills, this body will drop. Now that is one level of contentment. This contentment must help me to go within, that because I have done enough of all these, now my mind seeks to know who am I truly. My mind seeks to be one with the Lord and drop this dehatma bhav, that I am this jiva, I am this body. That has to go. All the things which I did in life is a preparation for this, that I am able to let go easily. Vihaya paramarthavit. So if I am able to let go of that easily, then what will happen? Paripurna Chidananda Swarupena Avatishthate. Then one will abide in the self. So that state of fulfillment one attains in meditation. Now, those people who realize that state, then there is nothing more left to realize for them. There is no sense of incompleteness at all. That's the state of Atma, Swarupena Avatishthate. Swarupa means our own true self. So now these two verses have told us how to turn within. Few more verses, they will go like this only. Similarly, different aspects of meditation and the realization will come up. So 41st one. Jnatra jnana jneya bhedaha parenatmani vidyate chidanandaika rupatvat dipyate swayamevahi. Now this division of Jnatra means the knower. Jneya, the object which is to be known. When the knower contacts the known, Jnana arises, that is knowledge. Like right now I am the knower. Through the eyes, I am seeing the computer screen. Now that computer is the known. And when this knower contacts the known, the knowledge arises that this is a computer, you all are here, now you are listening to me. So the knower contacting the known gives rise to the knowledge. This difference always exists in the world outside. Jnatra, jnana, jneya bhedaha. Pare na atmani vidyate. This division is not there in the self. This division is there in the world. Pare atmani na vidyate. Why? Because in that supreme self, there is no division because there is no individuality. See, this jnata is the cause. As long as the jnata is there, there will be the jneya and the jnana. The knower, as long as the knower is there, there will be the known and the knowledge. If the knower dissolves, there is no known, there is no knowledge. Like in the deep sleep, when the mind gets dissolved, for some time it is dormant, it is unmanifest. Then there is no object to be known and there is no knowledge. Hence, Vedanta always says to know the knower and to dissolve this small I, the small ego, this individuality. That's what the object of meditation is. The purpose of meditation is dissolve the knower and to know who is the real I. So this division of jnata, jnana and jneya, that exists in the world outside, but when one turns within, this dissolves. Pare na atmani vidyate. Then what remains in that state? Chidanandaika rupatvat. There is only the nature of consciousness and bliss. Dipyate swayamevahi. Now somebody asks, Acha, if body, mind, intellect is not there, knower, known, and knowledge is not there, then how will I know the self? Because we generally think that anything to be known is only by the knower. Now the knower only is not there. Then who knows, who realizes the self? Suppose you have to answer this question. Who realizes the self? What will you say?
That the self exists anyway. So even, I mean, the existence is there. Whether you know it or not is a different thing, right? I don't know, correct?
Correct. Self is existing, but who is realizing it then? Self
Atma.
exists anyway. Atma is realizing the self.
The self is realizing the self.
The self is realizing the self. Yes, so that's the answer. When we say, who is realizing the self? Actually, this word who is real, the question who is realizing is a question we are asking in assuming that there is a separate knower of the self who is to realize the self. And what the shloka here is saying, the knower dissolves. So when the knower dissolves, then who will know the self? The self reveals itself as the nature of consciousness. So that's what it means. Dipyate swayamevahi. It is like the clouds when they get removed, the sun will shine on its own. So in the same way, when this knower, known, and the knowledge, this division goes away in meditation, who knows the self? There is no separate knower of the self. The nature of the self is knowledge. Chit, chidanandaika rupatvat. So the person realizes that I am that self. And the nature of that self is Chit and Anand. So this is important to know because two reasons. One is we always think I am not realized right now. In meditation, I will come to realize. In meditation, this I will dissolve. So it is not like any other goal that I don't have right now money, so I will work, now I will get money. I don't have love, now I have somebody, now I have love in my life. This is not like that, that I don't have Brahma Vidya, I am not aware of the self, now I meditate, now I got the self. No, it is not like that. It is not in time. So one aspect is this, to understand that there is no separate knower of the self. So then what will happen in meditation? When this division goes away of the knower, known and the knowledge, the nature of self, which is my true nature, reveals itself. So the nature of self is not a blank, is not a shunya. And important point, nobody will realize something different. Each one will realize the same truth. So lakhs of years ago, the truth that Vasishtha Maharshi realized is the same truth that you and I will realize. Because the truth is one, it is eternal. There is no division in that, there is no difference in that, there is no, it doesn't get affected by anything. So when we withdraw from everything, we should not have any anxiety. Because some people have the anxiety, okay, if I withdraw from everything, including my ego, including this individuality, then I'm losing everything. No, in losing everything is when I realize I'm infinite. That's why this giving up is important. Acquiring and holding has limitations and it is fraught with fear, anxiety, worry. And how much can I acquire and hold? It will always be limited only. For functional utility value, it has something in the world, so let that go on. That is no problem. But internally, I have to let go of everything, including the notion that I am the knower. I am the meditator. That meditator also has to go. I am not a meditator who is different from the self, meditating on that self to realize that self as an object. No. That's why meditation is very subtle. That's why it is basically meditator who is trying to dissolve himself through the process of meditation. Now that is what meditation is actually. Generally people use meditation for everything else. Apart from this, the knower is remaining intact. Now this person will use meditation for lowering the BP, for reducing the cholesterol, for removing the stress, for improving concentration, for improving relationships, for invoking love. But you are there, no, Mr. So and so. Nothing wrong in doing any of the others. The ultimate objective of a Vedantic student is this meditator dissolves. Then what will remain? Meditator gone, object of meditation gone, meditation as a process also gone. That's what Shankaracharya ji said in that Nirvana Shatkam. Aham bhojanam naiva bhojyam na bhokta. I am not the one eating the food, so I am not the eater, I am not the food that is eaten, nor am I the act of eating. Then who am I? Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. So what will happen if everything is dropped? Deepyate swayameva hi. This absolute truth will reveal by itself and it is self-illumining. So one need not have any fear at all. You see, we always want to hold on to something. The strange part is, even when we are holding on to something, there is fear. Like if you see many times one does any of this, rappelling or rock climbing or anything, bungee jumping, skydiving. So there will always be support. There is a harness and there is a trainer and there is a proper safety mechanism, everything. With all that, I will still have fear. Where I'm supposed to come down in the rappelling, or I'm supposed to just jump in the bungee jumping, with all the safety harness and everything, holding on to all this also, there is still fear in the mind. Imagine if somebody is told, you have to just do rappelling without a safety harness. How much more fear will be there? Meditation is like that. No safety harness. One has to drop one by one. Rupa, Varna, Rasa, all these drop one by one and dive into the depth of one's own self. To know that I am the pure consciousness. So knower gone, knowledge gone, knowing gone, everything gone. So can there be a technique to do this? At the maximum, what we can do is what was said earlier, quieten the mind and contemplate, I am pure consciousness, I am like space, I am unaffected, I am the illuminer. Beyond that, there is no technique. Even these are words. Sat, Chit, Anand, Atma, Chidananda, Paripurna, these are words. What these words indicate, if I lift the mind to that state, then I have to let go. I will realize that, Supreme. And that's why one thing very important is we should focus on developing the ability to let go. If some agitation was disturbing me earlier for 3 hours, now is it disturbing me lesser? Am I becoming quieter? Am I able to let go of my insistence and become more accepting and flexible? If those things I start developing well, then in the state of meditation, to let go of the deep-rooted conditionings and notions about the body, about me as an individual, the jiva, etc., then I can let go of those. Yes, Elena ji, you were asking something?
So Swamiji, you gave the example of bungee jumping. I know you didn't mean it literally, or let's say when we go for the rapids in the Ganges. But the fact is that you know there is some danger, like bungee jumping, you'll break your back, right? Or whatever, something can go loose, or you hear these freak accidents. And similarly on rapids. So if your mind at that time intellectualizes, and I know that is the fear, but then there's very difference between some known facts or let's say knowledge or some. So what is the fine line for that? I mean, and not only these examples, I'm talking in day to day.
See, these examples, yes, there is certain fear aspect, no doubt. But when like bungee jumping is a different example altogether. There you cannot do without the harness and you should not do.
Agreed.
But rappelling, etc., you see the commandos, how they do rappelling. There is no safety harness, nothing. They just come down the rope, full stop. So mentally, they have overcome the fear. Physically, they have done the practice so many times that the fear is just gone completely. So there are these two aspects. One is the skill aspect and one is the attitude aspect.
Correct.
Now, these two is what we have to focus on, depending on what am I trying to fight with or what am I trying to achieve or overcome in the subjective journey also, or even in the world outside, whether it is relationships or whether it is my work or any such thing. Attitudinally, what is the thing that I am insisting on and holding on to that I have to let go? By proper reflection, introspection, what are my insecurities, what are my fears, because why am I attached to certain things? Those things I have to introspect. Then I have to learn to let go of those.
Correct. Thank you.
Then the skill part of it comes, where by practice I need to let go. I have to practice. It cannot happen only by intellect. So like the commando will do the practice repeatedly with harness first and then slowly without harness, and then in the actual situation from the helicopter they will just come down, and while they're coming down they are shooting the enemy also. That is so much more practice required. So what is the skill that I can practice to let go? So in every culture there are different skills. Sometimes it is taking bath in Ganga, letting go of hurt, pain, sorrows. Sometimes it is writing down something which I have been affected by and then, crumpling it and destroying it. Sometimes it is through Havan that I am learning to let go. But in all things, one is common, that the intention to let go, the knowledge, the learning out of that incident, and the ability to hold on to something higher. If I have these three, then through this attitudinal change, and through the skill, I learn to let go.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. You said learning to let go, and the other one was attachment to higher. What was in between? The second one?
The lessons.
The lesson.
Yeah, the lessons I have to learn. That what is this situation telling me about my attachments or the way in which I am responding? It will tell me something about myself, which I have to learn to, either if it is a negative, learn to drop it and become better next time. Or if there's something lacking, then learn to imbibe it, cultivate it, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that was about this, the ability to realize the self by letting go of everything, the knower, the known, the knowledge. So that's why the spiritual path, and especially meditation in its deepest sense, is the most difficult thing to do. People think spirituality is very easy. It is not easy, because in the world there are enough support systems. In spirituality, in meditation, there is no support system. All supports have to be dropped. The meditator also has to be dropped. What remains, that state is called meditation. So this cannot happen unless one has deep level of detachment and dispassion. Till one doesn't have the capability to surrender and let go of the ego, meditation one should just forget. One should not bother at all. First, it is the ability to let go I must cultivate. The ability to serve selflessly I must cultivate. The ability to concentrate I should cultivate, because these are helpful in the final state where I have to learn to let go. Selflessness is important. Single pointedness is important. These two will help a lot. So when I serve in the world, I should serve with as much selflessness as possible. Whether the opposite person is reciprocating or not, it doesn't matter. Because it is their level of evolution, that is their lookout. I am being selfless not because that person, I am being selfless for my sake. A flower doesn't see who is coming in front of it. The flower gives fragrance because that's the nature of the flower. Now somebody comes as a lover of the flower who smells it and leaves it as it is. Somebody comes to pluck the flower. The flower will give. Now, of course, the example has a limitation. I'm not saying get exploited by people. But what I mean to say is that when we serve in the world, our selflessness should not get conditioned by the attitude and the responses of people. If we have to be discreet about it, we can be discreet. That is our choice. But selflessness has to be from within. Now, the more selfless I am, the more I practice single pointedness every day, do some japa, do some chanting, that mind will become tuned. See, these two also cultivate the capability of letting go. When I'm not selfish, I'm letting go of attachments. So with attachment goes fear, anger, greed, jealousy, all those will go down. Because karma is the source of the other 5 impurities. So if I become nishkama, I am automatically learning to let go. I am learning to become detached and dropping the 6 impurities. Then when I do upasana, when I do mantra japa or some puja, in that I am letting go of wandering of the mind. In that I am letting go of some deep cravings and attachments. I'm just letting go. I'm not encouraging them. I focus the mind back to the mantra. So selfless work and single pointedness in the puja or japa or whatever spiritual sadhana I'm doing, they by themselves also help to let go. The third thing that helps to let go is introspection. Every single day one can introspect that what are the things I have done today, what were my motives, what were my attitudes, because when we are acting at that time we are not aware. See, what is driving, because a lot of subconscious, unconscious forces of the mind, they make us act in a specific way. We may not be aware of those at that moment of action. But introspection will help to detect where my motives were wrong. The world may not know at all. I may cover up happily with a different face. That one, each one learns as one grows. One has developed an art of putting a false mask. So the world will not know also sometimes. I know with what attitude I have done certain things. So I have to detect that and negate it. Where I understand that this is not a right motive, I accept it was there in my mind, but it is not a good motive or it is not an appropriate one. I should accept it and want to get out of it, not justify it. That is negation. And then I should substitute it with the positive aspect. If it is anger, substitute with empathy, compassion. If it is greed, substitute with contentment. If it is jealousy, substitute with admiration. If it is attachment, substitute with love. So I must identify which are these and let go of the negative emotion. This is the homework that I have to do. And this is how I cultivate the ability to let go. Then when I sit for contemplation and I say I am not the body, I can let go of body identification also. Why? Because I've trained the mind to let go. Let go of selfishness, let go of wanderings, let go of attachments. All this when I train, then in meditation also those words will not remain words. One will actually let go. So that's how it is. And one will abide in this. Last thing to let go will be this bhav that I am the meditator. I am Mr. So-and-so, the meditator. That will go when I steadily contemplate on my nature as pure consciousness. I am not this body. I am not this mind. I am not this intellect. I am not even the meditator. Who am I? There is only one pure consciousness. So I let go of the knower also, the attitude that I am meditating on something other than me. This is steady contemplation on the self dissolves all the three. Why it dissolves all the three? Because the knower dissolves. Jnatra or the jnata. Jnata dissolves, then jnana dissolved, and the jnaya also dissolved. Gone. As long as I think I am the meditator, I will not reach meditation. If I drop the bhav, I am the meditator, the state I reach is meditation. So that's what it is. 3 verses that we have covered today. That's where we will stop for now. Anything you want to ask, share, you are welcome.
Swamiji, Atma and self is the same thing.
Same thing.
Same.
Yeah.
Swamiji?
Yeah.
You know, you've always been saying that in sleep we forget or we forget ourselves. But I was just thinking, you know, when our senses are activated, like if you know, there is a sound or somebody touches us and moves us, then we wake up. Or there is a dirty smell also, then it will affect us. So what is that working? And doesn't that mean that somewhere we are still, alert and not completely disengaged?
So what we talk about is the deep sleep state.
Okay.
The deep sleep state, there is no background noise. Can you please mute?
I think the sound,
Only the person who is asking the question, please unmute and speak, because otherwise a lot of background sound comes.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, so the deep sleep state. Now the deep sleep state is what we are referring to when we say body, mind, intellect is unmanifest in that state. What happens to us is the amount of deep sleep that we get is very less quantity. We come back into dream and into the waking state very quickly. So we keep moving between waking, dream, deep sleep, waking, dream, deep sleep. In that, when the smell or touch or anything happens, no, from the deep sleep, we already must be in the dream state. So from there it becomes very easy, because then the subconscious mind has got activated. Then the smell also one will know, the touch also one will know. That is one explanation. Second explanation is, if the deep sleep is not fully absorbing, even from the deep sleep one will be pushed out by the movement. Now you may have experienced this also at some times, that when there is really deep sleep, from that deep sleep straight, if you come to waking, there will be complete disorientation. One will have no idea what is happening around. It takes little time to come to that state, to come to realize, where am I, who am I, what is happening. Because from a deep state of absorption, suddenly I have come out because of some external disturbance which happened, or because of a certain internal fear or something that I went through. Suddenly I will come out of that. Or what we also call as a survival instinct. If there is a body which is at threat, see, this body has a certain mechanism. Over millions of years, we have developed this mechanism of our reflexes and responses. If there is even a little bit of threat to the life, immediately those responses and the mechanisms will start off, whichever state one is in. So there is one small part of the subconscious mind which continues to be functioning, which we call as chitta, even in deep sleep. That chitta actually records absence of everything. Ahankar is dormant. Man, buddhi is dormant. So if you remember Tattvabodh, we had learned 4 things. The subtle body consisted of man, buddhi, chitta, ahankar. Emotions, thoughts, memory and ego. These 4 constitute the subtle body. In the deep sleep state, ahankar is unmanifest, emotions are unmanifest, thoughts are unmanifest. What is remaining? This chitta, that alone is remaining. Because that chitta records absence of everything, and that is why when we come out of deep sleep, that we are able to say that there was nothing. Because ahankar went down, mind went down, intellect went down, but chitta records. Now that chitta has impressions of many lives put together in it. So if there is some danger, some threat, something, immediately one will jump out from that state. So either it could be dream state, because of which we can come out, because then that's functionally much more active than the deep sleep state. Or even from deep sleep one can come out, because the chitta in a small part, the functional part of memory is still there. The psychological part has become dormant.
So sometimes when we don't hear the alarm, is it that because we may be in that deep sleep state at that point?
Yeah, very deep sleep and no threat is being perceived and mind is just absorbed in that. So then that's why we don't hear.
So we're literally with the one. We are one with...
No, we are not one. We are in the state which is closest to the one, because ignorance is still there in deep sleep. It is absorbed in that state of what we call as unmanifest vasana and ignorance. So there is complete relative peace. It is absorbed in that relative peace, which is actually absence of all agitations. Because the agitating entity, Mr. So-and-so, is dormant.
Swamiji, what about dreams in this deep sleep?
No dreams in deep sleep. Not before deep sleep comes the dream state.
Oh.
From the dream state, slowly one goes into deep sleep. And from deep sleep, one generally comes into dream, then one will come to waking.
And Swamiji, all the snooze that we do, is that just greed over need? Because a lot of our dreams tend to happen in that snooze state. So on a very practical term, I'm asking you.
See, it depends. There are 2 ways to look at it. One is a functional need of the body for sleep. Now, if my body is really deprived of sleep, then one will want to get into the sleep state, put on the snooze, and even if that is 5 minutes extra, that makes a difference to the body. So the body deprived of sleep, that body needs it. So one will put the snooze. So that is not a problem. The problem is the body has had enough sleep and rest, and now this fellow is lazy. So then he puts the snooze button and then wants to dream something and fantasize and imagine and whatnot. And do you know one very important connection? I don't know if you are aware of that. But suppose you sleep at, let us say, 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock you go to sleep. In 4 or 5 hours, you know, the body has whatever digested the food, assimilated, and all the things that the body needs to eliminate, they all are ready now. If you wake up in between, let us say at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, if you wake up, you go to the restroom and leave out all the waste and come back, the next 2 hours of sleep will be much more powerful, much more effective, and it will give much more rest. Because
after your elimination or whatever.
After elimination, because there is a deep connection between that and the quality of sleep. And that is one of the reasons why Brahma Muhurat is that very good time to wake up, because when earlier people used to sleep early and they get up at Brahma Muhurat, they will actually get up at 3 o'clock. Having got enough sleep, they would have got up at 3 o'clock, they will go get ready and they will start doing spiritual sadhana, because body has rested well, enough of the, the assimilation, cleaning part, everything is over. Now their body and mind is very fresh. Because we are sleeping late, we need extra 2 hours or 1 hour of sleep more after we wake up in between at 4 o'clock. So if you wake up at 4 or whatever time in between you wake up, go to the restroom, come back and sleep, that sleep will be much deeper than putting on the snooze button and still lying down. So I generally tell people, don't put the snooze button. If you have woken up, just get up, go to the restroom, finish all those things. And if you want to come back and sleep, sleep again. Put a timing for it, saying another half an hour I want to get up. And then get up. And you see the quality of sleep in that half an hour, it will be much better.
Thank you, sir.
This you must be knowing. The gut of ours is connected to our thinking. That you know, right? If the gut condition is not good, the thinking will also get affected.
I didn't know thinking. I thought it was health.
No.
I guess it's all connected.
Health
It's detox.
Health though definitely, but it is connected deeply to the thought, to the mind, to the brain.
Swamiji, this letting go practices that you talked about, is there something we can do? Either as an individual practice or like a sadhana or in a group or...
No, that's why I said 3 things now. Each one has to practice on their own. One thing I said is selfless work. Becoming selfless in all my relationships that I have to do. Especially in those relationships where I am most possessive and selfish. I should identify those and do in that. Then single pointedness, and then comes the introspection. So each one has to find their program and their time, and each one has to do. Like 2 sessions before we did a group meditation. Of course, that now and then one can do some such things together.
That's what I mean.
Those things one can do now and then together, but those are only techniques and processes. The real change happens when the individual introspects by themselves independently and makes the subtler changes and the adjustments that one requires. That is the individual work that one has to do, because one simple reason is when we do things in group, it has its own impact, there is no doubt about it, but the mind takes it as an excuse not to do the individual work, saying I have done the group sadhana. So it becomes as a means of excuse. Yeah, I have done my meditation for the week, now I don't need to do. I have done the group introspection, now I don't need to do.
Right.
No, that is not correct. So periodically, yes, we can keep having some meditation or some mantra japa or some anything, chanting or havan or any such thing, puja. And the mission also keeps doing that. A lot of these festival celebrations that we do, you are welcome to join any of those. Where we do, like Hanuman Jayanti event, we did that Hanuman Chalisa chanting, full day, 24 hours chanting went on. So like that we do on different occasions, we do where groups come together and we can do some sadhanas together also. In our group, I think we did a puja once, some Paduka puja once we did. Yeah.
Thank you, Swami.
Swamiji, when we say also you as the same thing, you let go and to withdraw and detach yourself, you forgive and you forget your relationship. So forgiving, I'm finding easy to do. I feel, okay, I'm sorry, that person forgive, he doesn't know what he's doing. But it's very difficult for me to forget. How do I forget what a person has done? And sometimes I feel it's a survival instinct for me to remember. So I'm holding on to that. So I should keep remembering in my mind, so I'm not hurt again. So is that wrong?
No, it is not wrong. So forgetting has also two aspects. It has functional aspect and psychological aspect. Now functionally, if I put my hand into fire, so now there will be a burning, there will be pain.
Yeah.
Now I know every time that fire will cause pain. So that's a functional memory in my head that fire causes pain. So I don't put my hand into fire. So if somebody has hurt me like that, I say that, okay, I need to be cautious against this person because I don't want to be hurt again. That's a functional decision. Psychological decision will be a factor which will inhibit me psychologically. It will create fear. It will create anxiety. It will create a certain displeasure in my heart. It will make me feel I hate this person. I don't want to meet this person. All those psychological factors is what we need to forget. How will we forget that? If I have truly forgiven, then it will go. 1. 2, what is it that I have to learn from that? If that incident has something to teach me about where I was inalert, or where did I go wrong, or where did I miscalculate. So if I learn from those things, then I can let go of the psychological aspect. And also I will be able to let go when I feel strong within myself that even if something like this happens again, I am strong enough to handle it. So then the fear goes away because I have replaced it with faith in myself. So faith in myself will come when I've learned my lesson and I have genuinely forgiven that person. If these two I am done, I will have faith that even if something happens next time, I will be able to deal. And anyway, I am being cautious as a functional aspect. So then with faith in oneself, one will be able to forget the incident also. Psychologically, I'm saying.
Yeah. Thank you, Swamiji.
Yeah.
Thank you, Swamiji. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Yeah, Swamiji, I wanted to ask that why always we tend to think about the people who bothering us or troubling us, and whenever our mind is out there, we should get thoughts of the people whom we like, whom we are happy with, but always the one who is not positive towards us always preoccupies our mind. How to get rid of that?
What you said, the answer is in that only. The more I love, the more I feel that happiness is more important to me, is more important to me, then I will remember those things.
Right.
And I can deal with the problems and situations differently. Whenever I need to deal, I will deal with it. But predominantly, I should not be occupied with thinking about those people. It's a conscious choice that I have to make. What do I really want to engage and entertain my mind with? Why give so much of mind space to somebody who is bringing me pain or who I don't want to engage with? So decide a certain way or certain time, saying at such and such time I can think about them and sort out what is there. The rest of the time I am going to actually spend with my people whom I love. It's a conscious choice one has to make. One thing is, human being derives a lot of comfort from the sense of victimization. That's the basic. That's it. If you let go of victimization, there is so much happiness and love in the world, one will focus on that.
Yes.
But remembering all these people, one wants to feel, I am bichara, I am like this, I am weak, I am exploited, and people are unfair to me, and I am suffering, and Hare Rama. How much one goes on thinking about all that?
True. Very true.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.